Is Greece's former finance minister and economist George Papaconstantinou. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us from outside Athens. As you know, Prime Minister Tsipras was elected on the promise to end austerity. He ended up breaking that. So do you think that is what ultimately hurt his party in this election?
No, I think that what hurt Alexis Tsipras was the fact that he did not deliver what people were hoping, but also the fact that he did not manage to bridge the divide, let's say, between Greeks. He ran a very polarizing campaign. He tried to tell people that with any other government than his, it would be a total and utter disaster. It did not work. People were ready for a change. They were ready to try even a party which bears a large share of responsibility for the fiscal mess that Greece found itself in about 10 years ago.
And do you think this is the end of this wave of populism in Greece that definitely brought Tsipras to power here?
Well, it's interesting. Greece was the first country in Europe to elect a populist party to government, and we are the first country in Europe to sort of close the circle and go back to mainstream parties. But Tsipras tapped into a real need. People were looking for hope. He sold false promises, but people bought them. And they stuck with him. I mean, his result today, 31%, as the projections show, is really not bad. It's only 4 points less than what he had in 2015. So there is and this is something that New Democracy and Mr. Mitsotakis need to keep very, very close at heart. It's people are looking for change. If they go back to the way things were, they will quickly lose their support. Kyriakos Mitsotakis is a reformer. His party has not really reformed itself in these years. So he faces a big task to be able to push ahead without some of the worst elements in his own conservative party.
Let's talk about some of these issues that are concerning voters. Unemployment, as you know, is a big one. One that some say the ruling party has not properly addressed. How do you see this new opposition party turning this around, if at all?
It all comes down to growth. Greece's return to growth has been rather anemic. We were actually getting back to positive growth territory in 2014, and then Syriza tried this referendum and to play a game of chicken with the EU, and we lost 2 years there. But growth is back. It seems from the reaction of the markets and from foreign investors that Mitsotakis will get a boost of confidence and people are waiting to see whether he will deliver on his reforms. If he does, then growth will be higher than what is officially expected at the moment, which is just under 2%. How long that will last will depend on his willingness to open up the country, attract investment, and his capability in pursuing difficult structural reforms, which will get productivity going. At the end of the day, this is what's going to reduce the unemployment level, which continues to be very high, even though it has edged slightly downward since the return to positive growth.
Really quickly, we have less than a minute left. What about this issue of the migrant situation in Greece that they've experienced over the past 4 years or so? How do the two parties differ in their approaches on this issue?
Well, Syriza has been more welcoming, at least in words, but in terms of the actual situation, I don't think it is a situation that any European country should be proud of. The conditions under which they have been are inhumane. New Democracy, in principle, is less positive. I just hope they will be more effective in actually giving people coming in a fair deal and conditions that are those of an advanced European country.
George Papaconstantinou, thank you so much for joining us today and your perspective.